Yeah, I mean, I think we could look at, everything that we did when you don't win a football game and say, maybe we could have pushed the ball down the field. I think I made it clear that, Kyron Lacy is arguably our best offensive player, and he didn't get a touch. So, I mean, I think that that's clearly something that, Joe and I talked about, and he understands that. He's a smart guy. I mean, we need to get our best players the ball when it means the most. And so, we've got to be better there in making sure that our players get the ball. And if that means pushing it down the field, we got to push it down the field too.
When we're back, I can't hear anything, so I need to hear the side at least. Welcome back to Tiger Stadium, everyone. The LSU Tigers hosting the Nicholls Colonels later this evening, 8 hours away from kickoff. And you just heard Brian Kelly and company talk about what they need to do to get their playmakers involved in the ball game and have them, maybe make the difference here. A little bit of a learning curve, I guess, if you will, when LSU took on USC out in the Vegas desert. But now it's all about cleaning those things up, fixing them, and, of course, taking it out on the Colonels. And one of the things that Brian Kelly talked about in the postgame was how disappointed he was in his team, their inability to have that killer instinct and finish the ball games. So that is something, no doubt, that they will be focused on this week for sure, and something he is hoping that his team displays tonight.
I think it happens when you put in the work, and it means so much that you just, under no circumstances, can you let somebody take it away from you. And so you just can't let complacency come in at any time. And I'm not saying that we were complacent, but you just have to continue to build a mindset amongst your guys that the focus is on dominating that play. And we're still working on that every single day, about dominating the play that's in front of us. These aren't guys that are just like, I don't care. That doesn't matter to me. These guys are working so hard at it. That's why I want so much for them. It just angers me that we're not getting that break where these kids are putting so much into it. I mean, we had the ball on the ground 5 times. I mean, really? It just was frustrating to me that these guys are working so hard, and we're going to get there, and we're going to break through. And you guys will see that.
Certainly, I think that breakthrough happens later this evening when the Tigers take out some of those frustrations on the Colonels. But, look, I still think this is a good LSU football team. I think they also ran into a pretty good USC team, and there are some areas where they need to, improve. Brian Kelly talked about the ball being on the ground. The defense did a pretty good job against a pretty talented wide receiving core and those tight ends for the Trojans. They won't necessarily see anything like that tonight, but it's all about building, right, next week at South Carolina. One way the Tigers can certainly improve their outcome is with the run game. I think we saw some runs, but with this LSU offensive line and how veteran they are, I think we were all expecting it to be a much more productive round game. And hopefully that is something that we will see later this evening.
We have to be more efficient with our running game. And I don't know that it's a particular play as much as where I sit, and what I want is when it's 3rd down and everybody knows you want to run it, let's be creative in running the football, but let's execute at a high level. And we didn't execute at the level we're capable of executing. Our O-line knows that, but we got to put our players in a good position. This is not just on our players. This is on coaching as well. But I don't know that it's a particular scheme as much as it is we've got to make sure that we're putting our guys in a good position. We can't be predictable. And I think that that's probably more than anything else what we got to make sure of, because we've got every running play under the sun. Whether we're running pull, whether we're running inside zone, outside zone, counter, toss to the outside. We ran all of those plays. We just have to be better when our best is needed in those tough situations. And we weren't in some instances, and we've got to be better.
It's going to be a challenge, too, for this LSU ground game. Of course, John Emery out for the season with another torn ACL. So that means that Caleb Jackson and Josh Williams will really have the bulk of the carries. Tonight, expect to see the freshman Caden Durham getting a number of carries and maybe giving both Caleb and Josh a little bit of a break as they start SEC play next week. One area that we just talked about needing to be better, Coach Kelly said was actually pretty good. The offensive line, right? 4 returning players from last year, but a new starting center. I asked Coach Kelly, how did DJ Chester do in his first collegiate start playing with this experienced offensive line? He said pretty good.
I thought DJ played very well. I really liked his communication. We had the one time where he moved the ball, but overall, snaps were really good for his first time in there. It was really loud. Louder than I thought it would be in those situations. So given the circumstances of his first start, the D lineman over him was pretty stout, and he handled the guy on his nose a lot. That is a lot for a first-time starter, and I thought he handled himself. We put him in some tough positions, too, and we learned from that we have to be better in terms of what we asked him to do.
So, I really think it's as much about the players improving as well as the coaching. Brian Kelly said it a lot this week. They need to coach it better. They need to prepare their guys better and take a little bit of the onus on himself in the post-game presser. He was a little tough on his players right after the game, kind of mellowed and, I don't want to say walked back some things, but certainly had a different tone and message as the week progresses. He tries to build his team back up. One guy that, I told you about in the pregame for the USC game that I expected to have a big game, and he absolutely did, is Tiger tight end Mason Taylor. Mason with 6 catches, I think right around 60 yards, and it could have been even more. He had a fantastic showing to start things off, and every year that Brian Kelly has worked, either at Notre Dame or even here at LSU, he's been able to elevate the tight end room. I think Mason has the potential to have a huge season, and we already saw it in week 1.
Mason played very well. We need to continue to develop his blocking in space. We want to continue to do that because he's going to get some opportunities in space to block for us. But he caught the ball well. He ran after the catch. That's huge for us. So he's going to be a very, very big weapon for us. 2 and 3 tight ends, that package needs to continue to grow. We have to be able to use it as an offensive weapon as well. We can't just put 2 tight ends on the field and say, we're running the ball. It's got to be 2 tight ends, 3 tight ends on the field, and we've got to have some spacing and some vertical throws and things of that nature. So that's growing, and that has to grow here over the next, month or so.
The Tigers and Colonels kick it off Saturday night at 6:30 in Tiger Stadium. Lots of stuff for the Tigers to work on in this game.
All right. That was fun. I think that it's going to be fun for LSU to see those tight ends really grow. I think that it's going to be interesting to see Kamorian Pimpton and Trey'Dez Green really, flex some of their muscles as they develop a feel for the collegiate game as well. Yeah, LSU Nicholls, 6:30 tonight. No TV on this one. It's going to be on the networks, on the internet, SEC Network Plus. So you're going to have to find it there if you want to see it. But, of course, I'm sure you can come out to the stadium and enjoy the game as well. As we said, fantastic right now, right? I think it's like maybe mid-70s, high 70s. No rain. We hope it stays like that all day long. When we come back, we're talking LSU defense. So we've covered the offense. We're back with the Tiger defense, what they did well and what they need to improve on after the break.
Fall into savings with Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore's 20% off sale. Experience the best in quality paint with Benjamin Moore's proprietary resins and colorants. From brushes to drop cloths, everything you need is 20% off. Update your space with stylish wallpapers, shutters, and shades. Fast, free delivery, and exceptional service from your locally owned Helm Paint. Don't miss out. 20% off everything in the store this Wednesday through Saturday only.
I would end the day with sore feet, sore legs. The drugstore inserts that I was purchasing were really not very useful at all. I walked into the Good Feet store and the guy kind of grinned at me and said, I hear that a lot. I was living with chronic pain before going to the Good Feet store. Now I don't really have that problem. I'm able to do the things that I expect to be able to do, even at my advanced age. I feel pretty good about what's going on.
See what we can do for you with a free arch support fitting at the Good Feet store.
At AccuTemp, every day is game day. AccuTemp, your #1 team in town for AC, electrical, and plumbing.
Looking for a high-quality pre-owned vehicle? Look no further than Robinson Brothers Ford. Shop over 100 high-quality pre-owned vehicles, cars, trucks, SUVs, one-owner trades, low-mileage lease returns, and budget-friendly used cars. Nearly every make and model with everyday low prices. Plus over a dozen national banks and credit unions ready to give you the best payments possible. Robinson Brothers Ford, where used car buyers go to get it all.
As always, no unexpected fees. Click, call, or get to Robinson Brothers today.
There's something new at Golden Chick. Our wings are next level. And right now, get our best price ever. 6 crispy wings, only $4.99. Go spicy with our famous Wicked Wings. Or go zesty with our new lemon pepper wings.
Golden Chick.
From the official news station of LSU Athletics, this is WBRZ Morning News at 10.
Hey, welcome back, everybody, to Tiger Stadium. Counting down to kickoff between LSU and Nicholls here later tonight in Death Valley. As we said, should be a fantastic home opener. Lots of things for LSU to show off. They upgraded some of the video boards. I hope they upgraded the sound system as well. It won't be blaring from just one end of the stadium and have a little bit more of a surround sound type feel. Of course, Death Valley always known for their sounds, right? Their sights, their sounds, even their smells. Bourbon raining down on those big game nights. Not sure we're going to have that today, but it is fantastic to have an in-state foe in town. Now, we talked about the LSU offense, some of the things they did well, some of the things they need to correct moving forward. Let's turn our attention now to that LSU defense, right? The big question going into last week's game was how much more improved could this LSU defense be? I think we saw it. I think the defense actually played pretty doggone well, especially on the corners in that big challenge that they had. The Tiger defensive front also holding their own. Coach Kelly said he had some positives, but there, as always, some things they need to work on.
I could talk about the things that I really liked. First, we got really good play from our defensive tackle position. Very consistent play. We got depth play at the defensive end position. Really good play there. I liked our linebacker play, and I liked our corners. We've got to get more production at the safety position. It's got to be better for us. So production there is key for us moving forward.
Yeah, and it'll be a challenge, right? They're going to be without one of their safeties to start the ball game as he was sitting out the first half with a targeting foul that he picked up against the USC Trojans. So interesting to hear that was the level of concern from Brian Kelly. A lot of Tiger fans watching that ball game wanted to know where Harold Perkins was. It was probably the quietest leading the team in tackles effort that we've seen from Harold Perkins, right? The experiment of moving him back in the middle, playing a little bit more middle linebacker. It worked pretty well, but I got to be honest, I thought the Weeks brothers package played just as well as Greg Penn and Harold Perkins did. So it'll be interesting to see the rotation there that LSU tries to figure out as they not only, give guys breaks and give them a spell on the sidelines, but also work in some specific packages and maybe find the best way to utilize their players. As for Brian Kelly's thoughts on how Perkins played in his first game this year, again, pretty positive.
I like him where he is, right? I like him inside the core of our defense. I think what Blake talked to him about and what Blake and I talked about is we need to get him to narrow his focus a little bit more. And when I say narrow his focus, he has a tendency that he wants to do a little bit too much. He's so eager to want to make plays because we put him in that playmaker position, so much. When you work in the kind of areas that he works, your focus has to narrow down a lot more. And so continue to work on narrowing his focus, getting his eyes trained in a different way will be the big improvement we see from week 1 and week 2. And I'm going to say that you're going to see a huge improvement now that he's played in the box in a game and we can get his focus narrowed and get his eyes to where they need to be. His eyes were like that, and they need to be so much more focused. Once we get that, it's going to be a bit of a different look, and I think that's going to help him immensely.
Yeah, one of the, old adages, see a little, see a lot, see very little. I think that's what they're talking about with Harold Perkins there, just trying to focus in on your job, let the other 10 guys focus in on their job. And maybe we'll see that start to come to fruition. Again, I think the opponent will make LSU look very good today. How much of it is LSU actually being up to that level? Still to be determined, but they'll be challenged next week on the road at South Carolina. Another big sticking point for LSU fans this week was about taking the ball, right? LSU winning the kickoff. Brian Kelly was asked about it this week. He says it's something he's always done and something he'll probably continue to do.
Part of it, obviously, is the analytics play a role in it. So going forward on, 4th and 3, the analytics gave us a high percentage there of scoring a touchdown. So that was one of the reasons there for going for it. In terms of receiving the kickoff, that is a personal preference of scoring first. The team that scores first has a higher percentage of winning games. So I've always carried that philosophy with me throughout my career of wanting to go on offense first. Now, I know a lot of people want to defer, get the ball in the third quarter, and I totally understand that, and there's certain situations that I would do that in wanting to put our defense on the field first. But I felt like our offense was the group that I wanted to see first, and so that's why we made that decision. Had nothing to do with the analytics in that situation.
Yeah, and I think also it has a lot to do with his defense more, right? Wanting to get them to settle into the game and give them a shot to maybe see what their offense does first, take an early lead and play from ahead. It didn't work out, but it probably will in the future. When we come back, we're heading back to the studio. A little update on the in-state action here on this college football Saturday. We're back after the break.
I'm Attorney Peyton Murphy, and I know how a big truck can devastate a person's life. Trucking companies are only looking out for their best interest. Injured by a big truck? Don't be a victim twice. Call Murphy Law Firm at 928-8800.
Do you want to love your garage again? Throw parties on the patio or just add curb appeal? Omega Concrete Coatings can put an end to your ugly concrete in as little as a day. Locally owned and operated, our certified installation team gets right to the problem, laying the groundwork for your new and improved floors with the most innovative coating system on the market. Check us out at OmegaConcreteCoatings.com or call us at 225-341-5888. Put an end to your ugly concrete with Omega Concrete Coatings.
For over 100 years, our families have gathered together to share with each other our challenges and hopes, to take this light we've been gifted and paint a brighter future for the next generation. The seeds we plant today are the bounty we harvest tomorrow. As farmers, we know that together we're stronger than we could ever be apart. We're the Louisiana Farm Bureau, and we're the voice of Louisiana agriculture.
This is you, and this is your first hunch of the season.
It's parlay time.
With FanDuel, a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube TV will give you many more.
Buffalo. It's Broncos time. Psst, I'd take the over.
And you can easily act on whichever one speaks to you.
Eagles, Browns, Broncos, Bills. They all...
And make every moment more.
New customers bet $5, get $200 in bonus bets. Plus, every customer gets a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube TV. Only from FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook.
How do you choose the right attorney? I give you the answers at MurphyLawFirm.com. Don't allow insurance companies to take advantage of you. Make the right decision. Don't leave money on the table. Visit MurphyLawFirm.com or call me, Attorney Peyton Murphy, at 928-8800.
From the official news station of LSU Athletics, this is WBRZ Morning News at 10.
Welcome back. I'm Jack Schemmel here to take you around the SEC and Louisiana before this second full Saturday of college football. Today, 6 SEC teams are playing power conference opponents, and we have our first SEC conference game of this fall. First, here are the games you can watch right on WBRZ. In just a few minutes, Arkansas hits the road to play number 16 Oklahoma State. We'll see if the Bobby Petrino offense translates to success against a much better opponent. The Razorbacks put up 70 last week against Arkansas Pine Bluff. Oklahoma State and running back Ollie Gordon are 9.5-point favorites. Then at 3:30, we have the first SEC game of the season here on Channel 2. Kentucky welcomes South Carolina to town. The two teams both winning in week 1, but the Gamecocks really struggled with Old Dominion while Kentucky easily handled Southern Miss. LSU fans, you'll want to tune into that one because South Carolina is the Tiger opponent next week in Columbia. Then in the nightcap, we get a ranked matchup on WBRZ. Number 14 Tennessee and number 24 NC State meet in Charlotte. It will be the first time the country will get a look at Tennessee quarterback Nico Iamaleava. Say that 5 times fast. After a 3-touchdown, 300-yard performance last week, the freshman has the 7th best Heisman odds on FanDuel. Now, the biggest game of the day features new SEC team Texas going to the Big House to take on the defending national champs Michigan. It's in about 10 minutes. There are 3 other games, though, featuring the SEC and Power Conference teams on today's slate. The SEC only went 2-3 last week against Power 4 schools. Now let's get out of the SEC. It's the first home game of the season over on the Bluff. Southern welcoming Savannah State to Mumford Stadium tonight at 6. It's also the first home game for Terrence Graves as head coach. Now the former special teams coordinator was scratching his head last week after 2 miscues in the kicking game pretty much cost the Jaguars the game against McNeese. Against D2 Savannah State, the Jags should be able to make good on those mistakes, but still, coach expects a physical game inside a packed Mumford Stadium.
Coach Kelton and I, we go back almost 30 years as friends and coaching comrades. So he's going to have him excited. He's going to have him fired up, ready to go. And our guys will be fired up and ready to go because it's the Coach Richardson Classic. It's a home game. We'll get a chance to play in front of the Jaguar Nation. The jukebox will be here. It's going to be exciting. And we got to get this taste out of our mouths. And so the only way to do that is we got to take it out on the next opponent. And they just happen to be the next opponent.
Now, the marquee matchup in college football around the boot this week is over in New Orleans. A week after beating Southeastern 52-0, Tulane gets number 17 Kansas State to come to Yulman Stadium. I'm not sure how many more times we'll see a Power Conference team go to play a Group of 5 team. And that game is actually going to start at 11 on ESPN. John Sumrall's team wasn't his team back then. Tulane actually beat Kansas State 2 years ago. This game will be again on ESPN in just a few minutes. At 6 o'clock tonight, we have plenty of Louisiana action. The Cajuns play Kennesaw State. Southeastern travels to Southern Miss. UL Monroe hosts UAB, and Grambling welcomes Tuskegee to town. That's it for my stuff. We'll have more from Cobble and Hunter McCann in just a second out at LSU.
Louisiana has big weather, and that can mean big damage to your roof. Call us for a free roof inspection to be sure. If we find damage, we'll even help you file it with your insurance. Protect your home with Ryson Roofing.
Just to be on the safe side.
A message from the Sonic Department of Research and Deliciousment.
Did you know your new favorite burger has hand-smashed patties made to order, hot and melty cheese, and a tangy sauce? How rude of me. Let me introduce you. Try the all-new Double Sonic Smasher and at a half-price drink in the app.
Robinson Brothers Lincoln, where ultimate luxury meets ultimate performance. Right now, save like never before on our most powerful, innovative lineup of Lincolns. Buy the new Lincoln Nautilus and save $8,500 off. That's $8,500 off Nautilus. Or save big with $11,000 off the luxurious new Lincoln Navigator. And as always, no unexpected fees. Click, call, or visit Robinson Brothers Lincoln, serving the Baton Rouge community for over 75 years.
Associated Grocers realizes the importance of providing our retailers with the products and services necessary to operate 33 stores in our area. We embrace the nutritional needs of all families, and some families are hungry every day. The kitchen at St. Vincent de Paul serves meals 3 times daily, every day of the year. As we support WBRZ's To the Pantry, we ask that you do the same, as shown on your screen.
Join us with your support.
To the Pantry is proudly sponsored by Associated Grocers.
The Fun 99 menu, always $1.99 each.
Louisiana has big weather, and that can mean big damage to your roof. Call us for a free roof inspection to be sure. If we find damage, we'll even help you file it with your insurance. Protect your home with Rice and Roofing.
Just to be on the safe side.
Now, this week's Best Bets with Hunter McCann.
Welcome back in, everyone. Michael Cobble, Hunter McCann, wrapping things up before we get you to that Arkansas-Oklahoma State game. Let's get it going, Hunter. What are some of our best bets this week?
We're going to start with that 2:30 game here on WBRZ. Kentucky taking on South Carolina. They'll be going to Lexington. I think it's going to be a big matchup for Kentucky to get this one done at home. They've won the last 7 out of 10 games against South Carolina and have covered the last 4 out of 5 at home against South Carolina. And then for this one in particular, Brock Vandegrift, the quarterback for Kentucky, impressed last week, while Lenora Sellers for the South Carolina Gamecocks, he struggled a lot. So I'm going to take the better team in this one, which is Kentucky, to cover 9.5. I think Sellers will struggle to push the ball upfield in a hostile environment. So give me Kentucky minus 9.5 points.
Yeah, I like that one. I think they probably win by 14, actually. All right, next up, it's Tennessee and NC State.
Yes, another
tighter game there.
Yes, it's a ranked game on WBRZ this evening. Tennessee favored by 7.5 points, and I think it's a good reason. So I think Jag did a great job of pronouncing Nico's last name, but he's just Nico to me. He was extremely impressive last week. I think he's going to have a great game. This is a game that's going to be in Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte, so it is a neutral site game. I think Tennessee is going to get it done against NC State, covering 7.5 points. I think they're just the better team.
Are you surprised that NC State's keeping it this close, though?
Yes, a little bit so.
It seems like a tight line for me.
Well, last week, Grayson McCall had a rough game, and so maybe they pick it back up this week, but I don't think they do. I think that Tennessee's going to win this one big.
All right, let's bring it back home. And speaking of big, a big line for LSU and Nicholls. Let's get us caught up on this one.
Yeah, we talked a lot about LSU and Nicholls, but I think that you hit the nail on the head last week about how much this team is going to run the ball. I think they're going to really try to instill the run game this week as they try to work in their new running backs after John Emery Jr. towards ACL this week. I have the under of 61.5 points in this game. I think that a lot of time will be run off the clock because of that run game. So under 61.5 for the Tigers and Nicholls.
You know, last week we talked about LSU's offense kind of trying to find its footing. 61.5 is a huge number. I don't know how much Nicholls is going to contribute to that. What's the line on this one?
The line for this one, LSU's favored by 48.5 points.
All right. Interesting. Yeah, I like the Tigers on the money line probably with that one. Maybe 49 something on the board for them. And again, I don't know how much Nicholls can get it going. All right, let's give me a wild card here. What do you got?
Bonus pick for you, Nebraska and Colorado. I think Nebraska's going to cover 6.5 tonight in Lincoln. I think the defense for Colorado is just too poor. I think Nebraska's going to do really well with Dylan Raiola as their quarterback. They're going to win big tonight in Lincoln, covering 6.5 points.
Yeah?
Yeah. Quick recap. Kentucky minus 9.5, 7.5. Tigers, Nicholls under 61.5, and of course Nebraska is the bonus pick minus 6.5 points against Colorado.
All right, is Nebraska back?
We'll see.
I mean, Raiola really did look good. I thought he looked really solid in that one. That'll be interesting. All right, thanks for your bets there. I just want to go on record and say I did better last week than Hunter did with these picks. I don't necessarily feel as confident about them this week, but it is no doubt certainly fun to see. We'll be back here tonight at 6 o'clock on WBRZ+. You can catch us then. Of course, the Southern Jaguars in action as well. Bree Andrews will have you covered with that. Thanks for joining us. Have a great rest of your day, everyone.
Right now at Price Upon Toyota, sell us your used car, truck, or SUV.
Take the cash or put some down on a great selection of new Toyotas.
Seriously simple.
Right here, right now.
At Price Upon Toyota, Airline Highway.
Darling.
These are real people seeking solutions to real problems.
I have plantar fasciitis.
Pain with my feet, my knees.
Feet, knees, hips, and back.
And then they were fit with Good Feet arch supports.
I definitely feel the heel-to-toe walk.
I'm not feeling any pain, especially in my heel. That's where I always feel it.
I don't feel the knee pain. I didn't notice any pain in my back. I feel like I could walk all day in these.
Oh, you're a blessing in disguise.
Try them for yourself with a free arch support fitting at the Good Feet store.
At Neurogest, we believe patients can break free from their depression without the side effects of medication.
My mom suffered with depression, and it was a passion of mine to find newer treatments for patients that were more effective